What's good, everyone? It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Hope you had a great, restful Sunday with your family. I know I did. A lot to talk about on the show. Call in line. I'm going to leave it open. 205-686-3604. I want to get your comments tonight regarding Alabama making a hire, adding Steve Sarkisian back to the Alabama Crimson Tide. I want to talk Jalen Hurts destinations. I want to get your thoughts on Jalen Hurts. As you saw, he visited Maryland. He visited Oklahoma. He's supposed to visit Miami today. I want to get your thoughts on Jalen Hurts. I want to get your thoughts on the coaching changes that have transpired at Alabama over the past couple days. And I also want to talk about 7 Alabama juniors that have declared early for the NFL draft. A lot of people talk about numbers when they ask about recruiting. When they talk to Andrew Bone, our recruiting analyst, well, now you know the numbers are always changing because of 7 early players that are declaring for the NFL draft from Alabama. What's up, everyone? Thanks for checking in. It's Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. The call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. I'm just going to leave it open so you guys call in. I want to get your thoughts, as I mentioned, on Steve Sarkisian being added to Alabama's coaching staff. It's really interesting. I I'd heard his name last night over dinner, and then I saw, I believe it was ESPN who actually broke the news. I'd also heard that Chip Long, and there we go, our first call, just like that. All right. Let's see. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Sorry, missing the call. Oh my goodness. Okay. Allow. Okay. Call in again. My bad. I had also heard that along with Steve Sarkisian, that Chip Long had been another candidate, along with Hugh Freeze. Now, various sources today announced that Chip Long, who is the offensive coordinator here at, he's the offensive coordinator at Notre Dame, is no longer interested in the position. Haven't heard an update on Hugh Freeze. Now, can't think that the buyout from Liberty, where he is the head football coach, would be that big. But I think sorry, guys. I was trying to get – there we go. Here we go. All right. Here we go. All right. Good evening. It's Kyle Henderson. You're on the line. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, what's up, man? You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. How you doing tonight?
How you doing?
Good, man. What do you think about Steve Sarkisian, man?
It's Q. How you doing? Happy New Year, bro.
Oh, it's good to hear from you, man. It's been a long time. What's up, man?
I know, because you haven't been doing this. I was wondering. I kept asking during the live videos when you're going to get back. And it's been a long time. We beat Oklahoma. I'm happy about that. We lost to Clemson. I'm sad about that. But God bless, How you doing? All is well.
Yeah, man. It's there's a lot to talk about. I've been kind of MIA from the YouTube scene, but where you want to start? You want to break down the Clemson Alabama game? You want to talk about these coaching changes? What you got, man?
Let's start the game first. Let's start the games first. The Oklahoma game, we shut them out. Tua played well. Everybody played well. I think Kyler Murray needs to return that Heisman. Tuscaloosa, we have a spot waiting for it with Tua name on it. It doesn't belong to him anymore. We shut him out. Clemson's game was very, very, I think we started off well. The play calling on the offensive side was horrible, I have to say. I don't know what Mike Sloxley was doing and what Dan Enos was thinking, what Josh Gaddis was thinking. I think they were all thinking about, okay, we're leaving, so let's just call a conservative game. We played a horrible play calling. We ran the same plays, if you notice. We ran the same plays each quarter, every drive. We got 4 verts. Whoever is that special teams coordinator, I'm surprised he didn't leave, because he runs Mac Jones on a 4th down and 2 yards. When you could have just thrown the ball, he's a quarterback. He's not a running back. That game right there was very, very hard for me, because I felt like we should have beat them. We had the opportunity to beat them.
Q,
and
let me interrupt you, man. That fake field goal. If you and I can see the fake field goal coming, imagine Clemson's defense right? I mean,
That's what I'm saying.
And the thing
why
is,
run it then?
And you can put that on Jeff Banks, who's a special teams coach, but also Nick Saban signed off on that fake field goal. So it's also on Nick Saban. He makes the final call on that.
Yes, he signed off on that, but when he signed off, he didn't know. Okay, you see that we called a fake field goal. Okay, there's options with the fake. I know we have a playbook. You look at it. Okay, they waiting on us to run the ball. Why not throw? He's a quarterback. He's not a running back. He's not a running back. You throw Mac. You let Mac Jones use his arm. We have not seen him throw the ball down the field all season long. You wait to run him.
No,
and then need a first down.
I don't even think. I don't think you'd even take a fake field goal at that point. The play before that, it looked like Irv Smith had gotten pass interference. I think no. I think you put your best on the field at that point. It was only 31-16. You put Tua. You put Tua back on the field. It was a 4th and 6. You can pick that up. I just didn't like the fake field goal call. Hey, Q, I got to move to another caller, but call again next time. It's always great to hear from you. You always bring so much positive energy.
One more thing about these recruits.
Yep.
One more thing.
Yep.
One more thing about all these declaring. I'm glad Mac Wilson is leaving because he played well for us, but he was a horrible play caller. I wish they would have switched Dylan Moses over to our Mike linebacker.
Mm-hmm.
Savion Smith, he was getting beat like he stole something in Clemson, and you're going to declare for the draft. Thank you for your 1 year at Alabama. We appreciated your support, but you got your ass beat like you stole something. He was getting beat the whole game.
Yeah.
He let that Josh Ross kid look like he was Randy Moss on him the whole time.
Yeah, Justin Ross, I mean, right out of Phoenix City, right? Here in Alabama.
I know. He's from Alabama, ain't he?
Yeah, he was, man. What's
I'm
up, guys?
Surprised. But all I got to say is thank you again. God bless America. God bless me. God bless you. God bless Coach Saban. God bless our team. We'll be back next year. Tell Clemson we want all the smoke. We'll be back next year. We want all the smoke. Series is tied 2-2. They're acting like they beat us 3-1 in the 3-1 series. The series is tied 2-2. We'll see them next year.
Hey,
by the grace of God.
Q.
And we want all the
Q, call again next time, man. You're one of my favorite callers. Talk soon, man.
Thanks. God bless.
All right, you too. All right, calling line is open. That's Q up in New York. He's one of my favorite callers. 205-686-3604. I want to get your thoughts on Steve Sarkisian being back at Alabama. I mean, I was shocked. Were you guys shocked? I was shocked about a couple things, and I said it on the last show. I knew Josh Gaddis would probably leave. I had no idea that Dan Enos would just bounce, right? I had no idea. Here we go. All right, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, what's up, man? You're on this line. You're on the show. Good evening. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Where you want to start?
I really don't care. You start.
All right, man. So I was just saying on the show, I was completely shocked that Dan Enos left for Miami. I had heard Steve Sarkisian was in the mix. Then it's announced that he's coming back to Alabama. What were your initial thoughts on that?
Hold on. I'm landing Tilted Towers real fast. Give me a sec.
All right,
So what do I think about it?
Yeah, what do you think about the hire, Steve Sarkisian back to Alabama?
I think it's pretty shocking, you know.
You kind of
there?
Yeah. Go ahead, man. You're on. Go ahead.
I said it's pretty shocking.
Okay, and I mean, anything else besides shocking? I mean, it's Steve Sarkisian. He's back after he left Alabama to go to the Atlanta Falcons, and now he's back. I'm curious. I mean, there's got to be some other coaches out there that Nick Saban could be hunting down for this offensive coordinator position.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Nick Saban, yeah, 100%.
All right, man. We got to move on. Thanks for calling. All right, call into the show, 205-686-3604. When you guys call, you guys got to bring it, all right? I appreciate the call-ins, but, we need to get some good dialogue back. We got a lot of people calling in the show. So 205-686-3604. As I was saying earlier, Dan Enos, and this is what I heard, okay? I heard, and I posted these nuggets early on BamaInsider.com. This is what I heard. We got another call coming in. All right, good evening. What's going on? It's Kyle Henderson. You're on the show. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hey, Kyle. This is Mike from Kentucky. Long time, man. What's up?
Mike. Happy New Year, man. How you doing?
I don't know, man. I don't know
Right?
what to think about this hire back of Steve Sarkisian. That guy left town quicker than Lane Kiffin left Knoxville, dude.
Yeah, coached one game and then bounced out. I mean, are you happy about the hire? Are you confused?
I'm not happy about it, man. I wouldn't give a guy a chance that left town at the drop of a hat for another job. Atlanta wasn't even that good this year, and they got some skilled boys on their offensive, unit. I had a way better idea than that cat.
Let me ask you this, Mike. It kind of sounds like you're coming in from like a windstorm or something like that.
Okay, can you hear me now?
A little bit better.
I'm
Yeah.
moving.
Okay, a little bit better.
Well, how about now?
Stay right there. Wherever you're standing,
Okay.
if it's against a tree or whatever,
Okay.
stay right there.
Yeah, I had a way better idea than hiring Sarkisian back. You know who I would have got?
Who's that?
Okay, what's the biggest problem with Alabama's offense right now?
Well, I mean, during that game, it was the red zone. That was atrocious.
Well, no, I'm not talking that. I'm talking the coaching, the turnover of coaches is beyond ridiculous. We've had
Oh, it's
6
crazy.
coordinators
Yeah.
in 5 years.
Exactly. Yep.
You know who I would have got?
Who's that?
You know who I would have brought back? Who lit the scoreboard up better than Baylor from, let's go back as far as RPG3 till when Coach Browse got fired from Baylor?
Yeah, but he's already with Florida State.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was with Florida. You know who else was also in the mix? It was Chip Long, and also it was Hugh Freeze. Believe it or not, Hugh Freeze. But I believe what's holding up Hugh Freeze is Commissioner Greg Sankey will not allow Freeze to come back to the SEC. So I think that's the big problem there. I think Saban would like to have Freeze back on staff at some capacity.
Well, I'll tell you, if they couldn't have got Brawls back, because I tell you, I would have told him to get the band back together, bring your whole offensive staff. Baylor used to light it up, man. They did. Baylor lit it up, and since Hugh Freeze got another job, I figured it'd be okay to hire him at this point.
Hey, Mike, it's really good. I got to move to another caller, but thank you so much for calling.
All right.
It's really good to talk to you again.
Man.
Happy New Year, and call again next time, okay?
Okay, brother.
All right.
Happy New Year.
It's one of my favorite callers as well. I got Q in New York, and then I got Mike in Kentucky. Calling line is open, 205-686-3604. Hit me up. I mean, I want to get your thoughts on Sarkisian being back at Alabama. And I heard Dan Enos. I keep trying to tell the story. Jeez. All right. Good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hey, Kyle. I'm in Illinois, big-time Bama fan. Just trying to figure out, I get the Sarkisian hire, but let's talk about that defense. What's going on with that defense?
You know, that's a good question. I mean, and who do those responsibilities fall on? You got to think Tosh Lapoy and Pete Golding. From what I hear, Pete Golding made a lot of the calls this year. They share that co-title. But what do you think needs to be tightened up in your opinion? I mean, I think the defensive secondary was really exposed, and I always kind of felt that it was either going to be Patrick Surtain, who got toasted against Oklahoma, and then Savion Smith. I think those issues came to light against a very quality Clemson team. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think it goes back to the coordinator. I mean, you can blame the players, and I get that. They're on the field. But there's a big difference. The Bama's defense looks a whole lot different in title games without Kirby Smart. And I think a lot of that has to do with continuity. He was there a long time. Has developed a relationship with those seniors, and now it's just, basically we got a program now where they get a new coordinator every year. You got no relationship. You're coaching somebody else's recruits. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's really unbelievable how much turnover there is here at Alabama on a yearly basis. I mean, but on the defensive side, everybody still remains intact. You got Tosh Lapoy, you got Coach Cool up working with the defensive linemen, you got Golding, you got Carl Scott. So everybody's remained intact on the defensive side, but the offensive side is where we've seen a tremendous amount of turnover, the past couple years. Like I was trying to tell this story early, so hang tight with me. Dan Enos, from what I heard, just packed up your stuff and just left. Nobody even knew that he was gone. And a lot of people are also saying that Enos wasn't offered the offensive coordinator position. Either way you spin it, I was pretty shocked that Dan Enos didn't get the job. I thought that he could do well in this system. Now, with that said, who wouldn't do well in this system with the potency that Alabama has coming back on the offensive side of the ball? I'm really surprised to see Nick Saban go after Steve Sarkisian. Not from a coaching standpoint. I just thought, there's some other names out there that I thought Saban might give a ring to.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want to coach at Alabama? I'm sure there's a lot of people, but I heard a stat during the championship game that I can't remember exactly. Maybe it was the past 5 years. Alabama had 20 different assistant coaches, and in the past 5 years, only 2 coaches had left Clemson. I think there's something to be said about culture and continuity and relationships. At the end of the day, that's what I believe helps you win. Now, good players certainly help, but you got to have those other pieces too.
Let me ask you this: do you think? 2 things. Do you think, one, it's tough to work for Nick Saban because he's that demanding? And the second thing is, do you think people are just coming here to work for Nick Saban, to get that blessing, and then to get another pay bump the year after at another program?
I don't know about the demanding part. I think that if you go to a program where the expectation is you're the number 1 team in the country, then it takes what it takes, like you hear Coach Saban talk about all the time. So I don't. Those guys get paid a bunch of money. Who cares how demanding it is? We expect it to be demanding.
I agree.
But at the same time, it does seem like he's taken a bunch of coaches that have either gotten fired for some reason or, whatever the case, and they're just kind of there almost in a rehab situation before they get blessed to go on and get a better job.
Yeah, I mean, the turnover is unbelievable at Alabama, and I'm kind of curious why the same turnover doesn't happen at a program like Clemson, right? It's pretty interesting how Dabo Swinney's been able to keep that coaching staff intact when Nick Saban in Tuscaloosa has had to replace coordinator after coordinator. It's really interesting to think about. I didn't catch your name, by the way, when you called in. I always like to know the first name and where you're calling from. What was your first name, by the way?
Brandon over in Illinois. Okay. So I think some of it has to do with, I'm sure Clemson's coaches will be getting a whole lot of phone calls. Venables, he does a great job with their defense. I'm sure he's, getting some phone calls. If not, I know he's one of the highest paid assistants in the country, but you can't keep a good staff forever. I mean, you look at coaching trees around the country, NFL, college football, these good staffs, they get torn apart because if you got a good team, people they want good teams. If somebody else is hiring, they're going to come get good people that are part of good programs. That's kind of the nature of it. But I mean, he's at the same time, I'd like to see some guys stick around longer.
Hey, well, I appreciate the call. Please call again next time, Brandon. Thank you so much.
Take care, bud. Bye-bye.
All right. Cool. Call-in number is open, 205-686-3604. Want to get some dialogue. If anyone wants to call too and kind of sound off on Jalen Hurts and where you think he might end up. As I talked about on Friday, visited Maryland on Saturday, visited Oklahoma, and today he's supposed to be in Miami. I haven't seen anything. Good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling from?
What's going on, Kyle? This is Jarek from Buffalo.
What's up, man? How you been? Good to hear from you.
Man, it's been a rough week. Man. But
it's like one day after another. It's like a new story. It's
my
for
goodness,
Alabama fans.
man.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, we got Alabama with the worst loss possibly in championship history. We got LeBron Ray getting arrested. We got players declaring early. We got Steve Sarkisian. That shocked me. That really shocked me. But Steve Sarkisian, listen. He's a really, really good offensive coordinator, right? I kind of didn't understood why the Falcons fired him there. I mean, if you look at the statistical categories, he was 4th in passing with the Atlanta Falcons. Almost had a top 5 offense, top 10 in points. I mean, Steve Sarkisian really wasn't the problem. It was the defense that couldn't capitalize. But the one problem that I have with him is loyalty. Like, I think the last caller, he made a phenomenal point by saying, like, Alabama, it's starting to become a little bit of a rehab center for coaches. Like, yeah, these guys are really, really good coaches, but for some reason, because of whether it's their personality or, something going on with them, they're getting fired, here left and right, and they get to come here for the University of Alabama. And they come here for about a year or two, and then they decide to go to the NFL. and then we got to try to restart this process. I'm not liking that because you got to think about recruiting. You know, when you're trying to get these kids and you're trying to get these kids abroad, one of the biggest things is relationships and how they're trying to bond with these coaches. Now, it hasn't really affected Alabama. Well, it kind of did in 2018. That's the reason why Justin Ross decided to go to Clemson, because of the culture, because of the coaching staff being there, the family, that togetherness. Why Alabama, it's more of an NFL type, it's more of a factory more than the culture that it is in Clemson, which is why he went there and instead of going to Alabama. So that's really starting to become a problem with me. Yes, I like Steve Sarkisian. He runs a very similar scheme. He loves to run the football, loves to pass the ball. I love his concepts with the spread. But as far as recruiting base and trying to get players to come on board, it's hard to do that when 13 different coaches in the last 5 years are leaving to go elsewhere.
You know what? I think the one thing that I don't like about the NFL coaches coming down to college is I think they have a really tough time recruiting. I don't think Brian DeBall, remember he was here a couple years ago. He went to the same high school as I did in St. Francis. There you go. Yeah, now he's up in your neck of the woods with the Bills Mafia, right? Now, I don't think he liked recruiting one bit. Now, these coaches might come down from the NFL and might know an incredible amount and might add a wealth of knowledge to the offense. But recruiting-wise, when recruiting's happening right now, those guys don't like recruiting because you don't have to recruit in the NFL, right? And working with 18-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 16-year-olds, that's a different vibe for these NFL coaches. So, and Nick Saban likes to have guys on staff that recruit because recruiting is the most important factor to building and continuing to build this factory here at Alabama. As I mentioned earlier, Dan Enos out, Josh Gaddis out, Brent Key's out. Brent Key took an associate head coaching position at Georgia Tech. A lot of names on the offense are out. Joe Panunzio still on staff. He's the running backs coach. And then you have Jeff Banks who worked with the tight end. So now with Sarkisian added, you have 2 more empty spots open. Now let's talk about this name that we haven't talked about. Now Butch Jones, who was an offensive analyst at Alabama this past season. He has a lot of experience on the offensive side of the ball. I could see him coming in as a wide receiver or a co-offensive coordinator position. However, Mike Locksley at Maryland is also pursuing Butch Jones. What are your thoughts on Butch Jones?
Not really too sure about Butch Jones. I do think he's a really, really good football coach, but I honestly think, it's a huge possibility that Mike Locksley can pick him up. I mean, again, it's like I mentioned before, Alabama, it's more of a rehab center for coaches. And I wouldn't be shocked, if for some reason, I don't know. And I was talking about this with my family earlier. I don't know if this is a relationship issue with Nick Saban and the coaches. I don't know if he's going too hard. I don't know what it is. But when we think that coaches that there's a possibility of these coaches staying, they're gone the next day for some reason. So if Mike Locksley can poach him, I mean that's a phenomenal hire for him. That's a phenomenal hire for anybody that can get him, because I do think he's a really fantastic coach.
Hey man, well I appreciate you always calling in. You always bring the fire. I know the playoffs are winning, so I know New England winning today probably wasn't your cup of tea. But hey man, Bills Mafia at some point they got to come back, right?
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah, of course.
As far as recruiting goes, this is a phenomenal year. 28 guys here.
Oh yeah.
I think Alabama will have Henry, and I think they'll have potentially Ishmael. Darnell Wright, very disappointed in that because Brent Key was the primary offensive recruiter. As far as getting him goes, that's now out the window. That really sucks. But this is a phenomenal year for Alabama recruiting. I think they'll be back. But one thing that Nick Saban has to try to really evaluate himself: how can I get coaches here to stay here? Because you look at Venables, you know how many jobs he got offered the last 5 years to be a head coach elsewhere? It's ridiculous.
Every day.
And the fact that he's saying nope, I want to stay here. I want to stay here in Clemson. That's just because I really love it here. I don't want to go elsewhere. That's the type of thing that we need instead of getting these NFL coaches who don't really understand the college culture. So that's really all I gotta say for that.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. Talk soon, okay?
All right, you too, man.
Good calling. Call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. If you're a business owner out there and you want to sponsor the show, Want to reach thousands of customers? Hit me up, Kyle at BamaInsider.com. We'd love to feature your business on the call-in show. Could be the call-in show by your business. As I mentioned, 205-686-3604, call-in number. All right, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling from?
Calabón, ¿cómo estás?
That was a nice one. Sometimes we get some funny calls on here. Call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. If you're going to call, be an adult, right? Be an adult, be a grown-up. We've had some issues in the past where it's not pleasant. All right, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling from?
Hey, my name...
You're good. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, what's up, man? Where are you from? What's your name?
Hey, my name is Miguel Francis. How you doing?
What's up, man? Where are you from?
Birmingham.
All right, man. Good. Got love for Birmingham. It's a good city. So what's up, man? Go ahead. It's your show.
All right, man. So first thing first, I mean, I just saw that Matt Wilson is gone. Then we got Deontay Thompson is gone. And we, of course, we're losing all these guys. But who do you see as a good, besides Brandon Cajo, who do you see as a good linebacker to, help us out in that area that we need help on?
Good question, because with Mac taking off, there's going to be a lot of guys fighting for that other inside linebacker position with Dylan Moses. A guy like Joshua McMillan I could see rise up to the occasion. Ali Cajo, who's a very talented freshman. Didn't get his feet. I mean, all he did was play special teams this year, but I think Pete Golding really likes what he sees in Cajo. And then you also have Jalen Moody, who was a freshman this year as well, who also has played special teams. And I think a lot of people forget about Markel Benton. Markel Benton out of Phoenix City, I believe, as well. So I think those guys are going to rotate and try to compete for that starting inside linebacker position. I would like to see, like our earlier caller, Q from New York said, Dylan Moses call the defense, and I think that will happen in 2019. What else you got, man?
Also, okay, so last caller was right as far as getting Sarkisian. I mean, I don't have a problem with him. My thing is, like you said earlier, I mean, stability, man. I mean, we don't have nobody that's stable, to be our coach, man. And that's the thing with me. Like, I'm like, like you said, Brent Venables been with Clemson for so long and got all these other guys that's been loyal. I just don't know what it is. I just want to know. I wish I was like a fly on the wall in Nick Saban's office when he talks to these guys to see what is the biggest reason why we have so much turnover, man.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I see on the comment box real quick, another name is Shane Lee, the incoming freshman. I think he's going to be a beast. You got a good call on that, guys. Thanks for reminding me. Shane Lee, definitely.
Yeah, I forgot about Shane Lee from Baltimore, right?
Oh, yeah. I think he's going to come in here and do work. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's tough for Saban to build the continuity, but then also once you're at Alabama and you've been coached and you've coached with Nick Saban for a year, so many opportunities open for you. I mean, let's take Josh Gaddis, for example. Was here 1 year, a bright and very talented up-and-coming coach approached by Michigan to be their new offensive coordinator. I mean, you come in here and you're going to get seen. You're playing on a national stage every single weekend. You're fighting for the national championship. These guys rotate. And I also think, the grind is tough for a lot of these guys, too. They come in here, they work, their 16, 17-hour day. They don't like the recruiting, as I said earlier, as some NFL coaches just haven't vibed well with the recruiting aspect. It's really interesting to see the turnover at Alabama. It continues to be a hot topic in the month of January. Steve Sarkisian back to Alabama, definitely very interesting. And we'll have to see what plays out for these next couple of coaching additions, because there's still 3 more if for Nick Saban to add on. Anything else before I let you go, man?
All right, last thing, man. Okay, I know I just heard the guy say about Henry To'oTo'o. So about Mac leaving, man. So do you think that'll be the green light for him to slide on into the class? That's the last thing I have, and thanks for asking my call.
Yeah, I appreciate it. That's a good question. I will probably defer that to Andrew Bone, our recruiting analyst. We'll get him to have a show coming up this week, and he'll have more scheduled shows leading up to the next signing day, which would be the first Wednesday of February. But with 7 guys dipping out early from Alabama, it's going to open up a lot of space for the Crimson Tide. I know they got a huge signing class. A lot of guys already signed. A lot of guys already early enrolled. And more spots become available daily as guys declare from Alabama. I appreciate the call, man. Good stuff. Good chatting with you. All right, call-in line is open, 205-686-3604. And like I said, I will have Andrew Bone, have a show. He's probably going to have a show, I would assume, weekly leading up to signing day. I also want to bring Andrew Bone onto the call-in show because I want you guys to call in and give him your recruiting questions. He's our recruiting guy. I wear a bunch of different hats at BamaInsider.com, but nobody does it better than Andrew Bone. All right, what's going on? Good evening. It's Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Brandon from Miami.
What's up, man? Good to hear from you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Good. I'm just thinking that I think we need to change the narrative. I mean, these coaches are leaving for higher positions, so it's not like Nick Saban can't get them. They're leaving for bigger and better, and greener pastures. Mm-hmm. And also, we also got to look at that maybe that these other programs are just want to poach the coaches to keep us from being as strong as we've been for these past 7 to 10 years. So I think we really have to look at that and not say it's an indictment on Nick Saban. He can't keep coaches, but maybe that's a strategy that these other, big time programs are trying to use because they really can't beat us.
Yeah, I mean that's a thought. I think there is some strategy to that, but I also think the opposition is trying to figure out what's working. Going back to Michigan, Jim Harbaugh is certainly on the ropes. He hasn't been able to do what he's wanted to do at Michigan. So where do you go? You go to Alabama. And I think a lot of programs are continuing to do that as well. Brent Key getting an associate head coaching job at Georgia Tech. Mike Locksley, we all knew he was a coach in waiting. Landing his probably his dream job, being back to where he's from at Maryland. So, it's tough with these guys turning over, and I'm sure it's stressful for Nick Saban. But think about all the guys that he had to replace last year. He replaced all those guys, and you could argue that the guys he added were better than the guys that he had on staff last year.
I totally agree. I think Nick Saban, I think he understands what's going on, and I'm quite sure he has a list of candidates that he wants to replace him for every position. So I think none of this is really by surprise. But one other thing I just want to talk about, I think we need to get back to a more 60-40 pass versus the run. I think we got to get back to running the ball more. I was just hurt when what's my man name, Deontay Brown, got in trouble because he's just you can see the drop off went from Lester Cotton and from when Deontay Brown is on the offensive line. So I'm glad that he's coming back. We could get him back in there, and we got to get back to running the ball a little bit more, and stop asking Tua to do so much. We got to get back to a more 60-40 balance split. And question, wasn't that just the worst game that Savion Smith played? I mean, I don't think Travis Lawrence played us that well. I think, you take away those 2 big plays that Savion Smith gave up. We actually did pretty good against the kid.
Yeah, I'm going to show right now on the screen for everybody. This is the Pro Football Focus grade outs. And if you're a new YouTube subscriber, the grade is on the far right where it says defense, and then you have the player name. Total represents the total of snap plays. So this is what you're seeing right now. I don't know if you're seeing it as well, but I wanted to highlight and pinpoint Savion Smith's grade against Clemson. There it is at the bottom right, 39.2 out of 100. He is the lowest. That's the lowest grade a player for Alabama has had all season as a starter, 39.2. And that's why I was shocked that he declared for the NFL draft, because if he had trouble with Justin Ross, he's going to have a lot of hurting when he's going up against NFL caliber.
Right, I agree with it too, but I also think too he started right on the raw because you remember we got Trayvon Diggs coming back.
Yep.
So you know, what's the chance of him getting on the field?
0.
Outside of an injury.
Yeah.
Right.
You have Josh Jobe coming back. I thought Josh Jobe did well. He kind of he got thrown in. That was tough for him. Must have been. He's a freshman as well. But you have Josh Jobe coming back, Trayvon Diggs, Patrick Surtain. I know Surtain had a tough time against Oklahoma, but overall, you can't. I mean, overall, what he did this year for Alabama, stepping in, that guy's a future NFL player as well. I would even like to see Patrick Surtain at safety. I think he's that talented. I think he could do safety. I think he could come down at corner like he did this season. Patrick Surtain, man, he's the man. But thanks for calling in, man. Good calling. Please call again next time, all right?
All right, now.
Take it easy, man. Good call from Miami. Spent some time in Miami. What a fun city. Good time. Checked out Little Havana. That was nice in the Wynwood area. That was fun. 205-686-3604. I'll take a few more calls. I'm up for feeling good. Hit me up. 205-686-3604. When you call in, it's your show. You know, if you're a little nervous to call in and be online, don't sweat it. Don't make a big deal out of it. You know, it's just we're talking football. 205-686-3604. You guys want to see the offensive grades? I'll show you guys the offensive grades as well. Let me get those up for you. These are the offensive grades versus Clemson, okay? All right, so the player name on the far left, the grade on the far right for the offensive player. Alex Leatherwood up at the top, 73 total snaps, 53.8. It's not very good. Lester Cotton, 53.1. I mean, he struggled, continued to struggle. All right, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling from?
Tony, outside of Birmingham.
Hey, what's up, man? Good to hear from you. How was your Sunday?
Doing well, man. And yours?
It was great. Thank you for asking. Right now on the show, I'm showing everyone the offensive grade outs. Let me run through this real quick, and then you and I can wrap for a little while. Is that cool?
All right.
All right. So what you're seeing on the screen right now is the offensive grades. As I said, the highest graded player for the game was actually Najee Harris. He had only 14 total snaps, graded out at 80.7. Jerry Jeudy had himself a night, 45 total snaps, 80.4. There you see it, Tua Tagovailoa there in the center, 67.4. Didn't have the best night. The first interception was strange in that game. I thought, the first interception maybe credit to Clemson, but the second interception that Tua had, man, that was ugly. All right, so back to our caller. I'm glad you called in. What do you want to talk about? Go ahead, it's your show.
Well, I want to ask some questions about some of the assistant coaching hires. With bringing Steve Sarkisian back, are we going to move more to a pro-style offense, or is it going to be more of Lane Kiffin's West Coast offense style, to where we're going to get the ball in the flats to the receivers, a lot of east-west stuff, try to spread them thin and go down the middle?
I don't know. I kind of agree with our last caller from Miami who said he'd like to see kind of a 60-40 split.
Me too.
I think Alabama, certainly with next year's offense, they still have so much potency throwing the football. But I think sometimes it became almost too predictable this year, whereas you had all these running backs and they were hot, and I think they needed to adjust that a little bit. I mean, even against Clemson, Alabama was really running the football really well. I mean, Damian Harris was running great. Joshua Jacobs, he completely excelled as the season went forward. And then Najee Harris, as you saw, I mean, graded out the highest player. So this coming year, you have Najee Harris, and you also have Brian Robinson. And I'm so excited for Brian Robinson to get the football. I mean, talk about someone who's just waited his time. And then you have five-star Trey Sanders. So a lot of mouths to feed, but I would certainly like to see Alabama adjusted kind of to that 60-40 split and be getting those running backs the football to kind of kill some of that and control the time of possession a little bit better than they did this year.
Well, I would be excited to see Tua in an offense similar to what A.J. McCarron played in. I think that with the dominant run game that we had and the road grading type offensive lineman that we had, it just opened up so many opportunities for the deep ball and especially anything over the middle as well. And I just think he would excel. And plus, we have succeeded fairly well when we've run that style of offense. I do think it toughens up our defense every day in practice going forward. But also, if Butch Jones stays on, will he be a tight ends coach? What are we looking at there? And also, are we making rumor is Tosh Lapoy is being looked at by several other people. Do you think he's staying or going, or what's the rumor on that one?
I don't know. With Tosh Lupoi, I mean, he's currently out recruiting. I know his name has been called, and I think Alabama. I mean, this is probably going to be tough to hear, but I think Alabama could live without Tosh Lupoi. I think Pete Golding is that good of a defensive-minded coach. I've heard that Pete Golding called most of the plays this year. Now, don't judge everything by, the last game. I think collectively, if that is true, Pete did a great job this year. He has a lot more experience calling games than Tosh Lupoi does. So I'm not sure. I am sure that Tosh is getting calls. I'm not sure if Tosh will leave, but I know that Nick Saban is probably confident in the abilities of Pete Golding. So in getting back to Butch Jones, I think with Butch Jones, I mean, he has a lot of offensive experience. I would probably see if things don't work out with Butch Jones in Maryland, I could see him coming in as a co-offensive coordinator and a wide receivers coach. You already have Jeff Banks, who is a tight ends coach, and then you have Joe Panunzia, who's a running backs coach. Now, I don't know if he coaches the offensive line, so there's still needed offensive line coach here at Alabama. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Have you heard there's rumors also on the net about Jeff Stoutland returning from the pro game? Do you know anything about that, or is that just straight up rumor?
I don't know, to be honest. I haven't heard that name. So, I mean, if it came from somewhere, I'll dive in and try to find out what I know and post it on BamaInsider.com, but I don't know as of right now.
Hey, good show, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling in. Thank you. All right. Good calling. 205-686-3604. We haven't talked about this the entire show. Let me try to get it framed up for you guys on this other side of the screen. But what are your thoughts about Jalen Hurts, and where do you think he'll go? I would like a caller to call in and kind of weigh in on Jalen Hurts and what you think, where you think he'll end up. Visited Maryland on Friday, saw him with Loxley. Heard he was in Oklahoma on Saturday. I never heard if he was in Miami. Still trying to research and see if he was in Miami. All right, good evening. You're on the show with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Jared, and I'm from Houston.
What's up, Jared? How you doing, buddy? What you want to talk about, man?
How you doing? Good. I'm doing good. Well, I wanted to discuss who do you think we're going to be hiring as our wide receivers coach and offensive line coaches, and if you don't really know yet, who do you think are some legit potential candidates?
Very, very good call, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much for calling in. One wide receiver coach that I would like to see Alabama take a look at is T. Martin. I could see T. Martin, who was the former USC coach. I could see him coming in as a co-offensive coordinator with Steve Sarkisian. Remember, the two worked together at USC. I think he could really vibe with this wide receiver corps coming back, along with the offense in general, and I think he's also a very good recruiter. And as I mentioned earlier on the show, recruiting is a huge priority yearly at Alabama, right? Losing guys like Brent Key, Josh Gaddis, Mike Loxley, especially Mike Loxley. Those guys are tremendous recruiters as well as football coaches. Offensive line coach, that's a really good question because, I mean, who are the candidates out there? You know, we're kind of late in the season, so that's something that I'm currently researching right now. But if you look at a wide receivers coach, I would probably look at someone like a T. Martin. There's a couple other names that I posted on BamaInsider.com, but that's kind of one of the names that I'm kind of edging to. What else you got for me?
Well, I was thinking, what can Alabama do to keep these guys?
All right, I think we lost our caller, unfortunately. All right. Good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hey, Kyle. Garrett Lambert calling from Southern California Beach, Santa Monica, California, to be exact.
Oh, good stuff. I used to live out in Redondo Beach, so
sweet.
It was a good spot, you know. I had many good times there, met some great people. So anytime that I get to go out to 310, I love it. So you're on the show. What you want to talk about?
I bet you do, brother. Great. Oh, man, where do I start? First of all, I agree with Savion Smith. The guy played really horrible. God bless him. He probably made the right decision for himself because he's not going to get on the field next year, and that's true. Jalen Hurts, I think, would be great in Oklahoma. If he's going to go there, but because like you were said earlier, I saw this. I've been on Bama Insider for 3 weeks. I just thought I'd
welcome.
Join. I've been at BL. Thank you, brother. I've been at BOL for about 10 years, but I want to check you guys out. I really like your show, brother.
Good stuff.
So I wanted to, So thank you, man. I saw the thing you wrote about Dan Enos not getting along with. I don't know if you actually told this story yet, but you said that he didn't get along with Jalen Hurts, and a lot of people did not like that guy.
Yeah,
is that true? Is that what you heard?
Well, so what our caller is talking about is I dropped some pretty good nuggets, right? The nuggets were good on BamaInsider.com. So it was kind of more like a ribeye. So if you want to head on over to Bama Insider right now, you can have your ribeye before we hit Monday. I heard that a lot of people didn't like Dan Enos and that he rubbed people the wrong way, from the coaching staff to the players. And I heard that him and Jalen really didn't have a good relationship. So I was really surprised to see Jalen, have Miami listed. Now, it's kind of interesting, in my opinion, that we haven't heard or seen a tweet on social media of Jalen in Miami, right? Like, he was supposed to go there, but think about it. Enos goes to Miami. It was kind of like around the same time when Jalen announced he was going to check out Miami. We haven't heard if Jalen is going to Miami.
Yeah.
Like, could there be some truth to that? Yeah. I found it really interesting. So maybe there's some truth to that. I was shocked that I've said it many times on the show. Was shocked that Dan Enos just split out. A lot of people feel that he wasn't given the opportunity by Saban. I guess we'll never know. But he's gone, and there's just so much to go over because now there's 3 coaching spots that Nick Saban has to fill.
Crazy shit. I mean, it's crazy. The thing is also, Kyle, think about this. You guys have been talking about how difficult it may be or not to coach with Saban as a coach. Look, you know what you're getting into. I mean, it's not like a secret when you get hired. And also it shouldn't be a secret to Nick when he hires somebody that does he not know if the coach is going to get along with players, or does not have any understanding of that relationship that a coach like Enos may have with his players? Well, I don't know. I don't know. I can't answer that question, but I imagine he's probably done a lot of due diligence before he hires anybody. First of all, so anyway, that's part of it. Also, what I'm really not happy about either. I'm not crazy about Sarkisian because, like a lot of callers have said, the guy bolted. He's had a decent, I guess, an okay offensive coordinator gig over in Atlanta. But with Long, the ability to bring him back, to bring him here, and some other folks, I don't know, Kyle. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Maybe Sarkisian going to be fantastic, and he's going to be a really great coach for Tua and Talia and the guys there. Remains to be seen, but I'm not sold on that for sure. And for Mac Wilson leaving, I don't get that. I mean, the guy did not play that, in my personal opinion. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, Dylan, I thought was great. Mac, come on back for another year, bro.
Yeah.
You could use some help, but anyway.
No, so to recap, these are the players that have declared early for the NFL draft. So you have Josh Jacobs, running back, Jonah Williams, Quinnen Williams, all those guys will go off the board. I love this call right here. Irv Smith Jr. I really loved his game. Thought we so versatile.
Oh, man. So sorry he left. Oh, God, you're right. He was fantastic.
Deontay Thompson, big loss for the secondary. Yep. Their hardest pound-for-pound hitter. And then you have Savion Smith. We saw him get torched, and as we said, he left for reasons he probably wouldn't play again here. And then Mac Wilson. And I agree with you. When you look at Mac Wilson's collective grade on Pro Football Focus, overall, his grade is not very good. He's got a lot of athleticism. I know Saban has a lot of praise for him, but I think it was clear that he couldn't call the defense this year. I think we can say that right now. And I think Dylan Moses is he's much more intelligent. I think overall he's going to be a much better player. But the question now is, who's going to be that other inside linebacker? Markel Benton.
Well, you said some good people. Yeah, Markel Benton could be good. Ali Cahill may be there. Shane Lee coming in.
Shane Lee. Yeah, you're right. So Mac Wilson, though, we'll see what happens.
And one other thing real quick. Patrick started saying maybe he could play like Mika's role because the guy is absolutely phenomenal cornerback, and I mean the secondary guy. Maybe he can play the role like Mika did. I don't know, but he can maybe do safety, could do corner, could come down the dime, playing the dime. Who knows? But I think he'd have a big role there in a lot of different ways other than just being cornerback. Anyway, Cal, thank you, brother. I know you probably got a roll, but I appreciate your time, man.
Hey, man, thank you so much for calling from the 310. All right, see ya.
All
right, good call. Call from the West Coast out in Cali. All right, take two more calls. 205-686-3604. It's Kyle Henderson at BamaInsider.com. If you're interested in becoming a premium subscriber to BamaInsider.com, head on over to BamaInsider.com. Look for the free 30-day trial. I think a lot of people are satisfied with the service that we provide, the info that we drop, and customer service. Hey, top priority on my end. I will go to great depths to make sure that you are satisfied as a customer. So you can always email me if you are a current subscriber at Kyle@BamaInsider.com. All right, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with and where are you calling from?
This is Todd from Huntsville, Alabama.
All right, how was your Sunday today?
Doing good, doing good.
Good, thank you. Your show, go ahead.
Well, I was calling about all the people that seem to be freaking out and saying it must be hard to work for Coach Saban. That's an 11-year-old story. Everybody that's ever watched or known anything about Alabama football has always known that it's hard to work for Coach Saban.
Mm-hmm.
And, that goes for the coaches. It's hard to play for Coach Saban.
Mm-hmm.
We've missed out on a lot of high-profile superstars, supposedly. Jadeveon Clowney, I can't remember the guy that went to Oklahoma and then ended up at Missouri because he was beating the crap out of some girl. He was some guy that you couldn't miss.
Sure.
But yet, every time these things happen, it seems to work out for the long term, for the better.
Yeah.
I don't know where people have been as far as the assistant coaches. They've been churning through. I saw one person on your live feed a couple of days ago say, Major Applewhite, we need to get Major Applewhite as offensive coordinator. He was at Alabama when Saban first got there. He lasted 1 year and went to Texas. Lance Thomas, someone was quoting Lance Thomas. Lance Thomas said, you got to be a patient man to coach for Coach Saban. Lance Thomas was at Alabama, had a lot of personal problems. We won't go into that. Bounced to Tennessee, and people said he'll never come back to Alabama. He's burned all his bridges. Coach Saban takes him back for a year or two. The defensive coordinator down there at Auburn right now has been at Alabama a couple of times, and he was at Clemson 10 years ago. I mean, people, when bad things happen, they seem to hit freak-out mode. I remember when Johnny Manziel beat Alabama back in 2012, was that? Jess in over at Tide Fans, which is a guy that I think is excellent. Nothing but respect for his opinion. But he wrote up a piece right after that how Alabama was behind the times. The game had passed Saban by. And for that one time, Jess in was wrong. So people need to just calm down about this assistant coaching change. Everything's going to be all right, until Saban comes out there on a walker and we're getting blown out like Alabama's been blowing teams out for the last 10 years, and it's happening on some kind of regular basis, like once every 2 years. Just calm down and let the man do his job.
I completely agree. Very good call. And before I let you go, I think you hit on an important note. If you want to be the guy, if you want to reach greatness, the greatness that Nick Saban has implemented in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, this is what you have to do. In any successful business, organization, the hardest worker is the person who succeeds. That is who Nick Saban is. Nick Saban at 67 years old is still outworking 100% of America. He's doing a fantastic job here at the university. He hasn't slipped. The game hasn't passed him by. The guys that want to grind, that want to ride to the championship, head on over to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, because there's a yearly ticket to the national championship game. Anything else while you're on the show?
I forgot one name, Jeromy Pruitt.
There you go.
Jeromy Pruitt, when he left Alabama and bounced to Florida State, he's burnt his bridges. He'll never be out of Alabama again. Then he goes to Georgia. And who did he trade places with? Kirby Smart. The Georgia fans, I was on the Atlanta Journal-Constitution arguing with Georgia fans several years ago. I don't waste my time like that no more. But the Georgia fans at one time, when they tried to hire Kirby Smart as defensive coordinator, and he turned them down, you had all the same knuckleheads in the Georgia fan base that you got in the Alabama fan base, and frankly in every college football fan base. Kirby Smart burnt his bridges. He'll never be a coach at the University of Georgia. Now they treat him like Dabo Swinney at Clemson. They think he's the best thing since sliced bread. So all this stuff about complaining about Sarkisian or complaining about Lane Kiffin, when he hired Lane Kiffin, half the people just thought that was the worst thing in the world. Calm down, let things work out. That's all I got to say.
Appreciate the call. Have a good night, sir. All right, I'll take one more call. Who wants to bat cleanup? 205-686-3604 is the number to call. My name is Kyle Henderson of BamaInsider.com. Thank you so much for joining us. Be sure and give us a like, thumbs up, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Spread the word. Post us on social media. Let everybody know that you're talking Alabama football on BamaInsider.com. All right, we got our last call. Here we go. All right, good evening. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling from?
Hey, Kyle. This is Willie calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Hey, what's up, Willie? How was your Sunday, man?
Pretty good, man. What about yours?
It was great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I spent some time with the family. I'm glad to be back in Tuscaloosa. I was in Miami. I went to Texas for a little while. Went back to New Mexico to see some family. Then I went to San Jose. So being back in Tuscaloosa, I'm doing great. So what's up? Where do you want to start at?
So the first thing I want to talk about is the Jalen Hurts with the transfer. I think personally he should either go to Miami or Oklahoma. You know, Oklahoma has a history of, getting guys to the league as far as the quarterback position. I think Lincoln Riley is a great coach and always seems to put the quarterbacks in a good position. I didn't read the story about him not getting along with Dan Eno. So if that is true, then Miami's probably out because his dad is not going to let him go there. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about. And then the second thing, I think I agree with a few of the callers that called in previously. People just need to calm down about these coaches. I mean, they've been in and out for years since Nick Saban has been there, and we have won 5 national championships, and we've always had a turnover in coaches. So I think people need to calm down. Nick Saban to hire some more coaches. We'll say that they're great. They'll probably leave like after a year or two, and then we'll be at the same thing that we just started. So I think people just need to calm down. The biggest thing that I took away from this year, what was shocking, this is the last thing I want to talk about. I'm sorry I keep going on, but this is the last thing I want to talk about. The biggest thing that I took away from this year that has been constant throughout the entire year has been like penalties. And Nick Saban has always had a well-coached team that always had a lot of discipline. And if you look back in the Louisville game, I think Anthony Jennings and Christian Miller got penalties, like stupid penalties. And if you look throughout the entire year, it was senior leadership. It was seniors and juniors who got stupid penalties. And I was just so shocked. And I thought that, okay, this is like the first couple of games. They'll get out of the system. But if you look at the Oklahoma game, if you look at the Clemson game, it continued to happen. And I want to ask you, do you think that is because these guys are younger guys, and even though they might be seniors and juniors, they might not then play a lot, so they're still inexperienced? Or do you think that's due to maybe not having very experienced coaches that told them, like, hey, we can't get these stupid penalties? Because look at Jedrick Wills. He's got some penalties, false start, like 2 or 3 games in a row. So I just want to, get your opinion on that.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the call. So please call again next time. It's a good call. This is what Nick Saban talks about, and I think it resonates with the coaches, and I think it resonates with the players. He always talks about, when you listen to him, and he always talks about keeping the right psychological disposition. And that's always resonated with me because I feel that not only translates to the football field, but it translates to life. And a lot of these guys, they're younger guys. They're very talented, but they make mistakes. Emotions get the best of them. Seeing Christian Miller, for example, someone who is already shooting for his master's degree. Talk about intelligence. To see him commit a personal foul penalty, that tells us that he lost that psychological disposition. And that can happen to him, that can happen to anybody, and that can happen to us. That's why it's always resonated with me. And, it's part of football. You got to keep your emotions on lock. You got to always know where you're at on the field. If you're an offensive lineman, you can see the football. You know the snap count. So that's one thing that has always stuck with me. So I think it's kind of a combination of these guys having trouble maintaining focus and, keeping the head into the game. Now, I will say this, and I dropped this on BamaInsider.com, so it's on the Nuggets. I heard that Alabama had to lose the SEC championship game to win the national title game because I heard that the players were lacking focus. I heard that some of the players were complacent, and that attributed to the loss against Clemson.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Happens.
I can believe it. I can believe it.
Yeah. Don't get
they had
complacent.
they were completely burnt. They had no effort, man. I mean, even towards the end of the game when Clemson did that 90-yard drive, I mean, you never seen that on Nick Saban. It seemed like they just gave up, and I don't know if that was on the players, on the coaches, but, I mean, you've never seen something like that at the end of the game where guys are just, like, giving up and just allowing this person just to continuously run the ball on them.
That was unbelievable. I mean, the drive, I've never seen a drive like that either. It was 10 minutes and 52 seconds. It was like Alabama was on the ropes and Clemson was just going to town, the body, and just working it. And they had already won the fight. It was an ugly way to go out. But with that said, I think that provides ammunition for this team going into the 2019 season. The offense is going to be electric. Tua Tagovailoa is coming back with Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Brian Robinson, Najee Harris. I mean, should I go on? The offense is going to be there. There's a couple holes they got to fill on the offensive line. On the defensive side, Raekwon Davis is coming back. LeBron Ray, I know he had a slip up this week. He was arrested.
No, he's fine. It happens. He's a young guy.
Raise your hand if you're perfect out there.
Right.
Serious. Raise your hand. Okay? Yeah. Nobody did. So Alabama's going to be fine. And as the last two callers have said, don't freak out. The dynasty isn't going anywhere. You guys are safe. You guys get some rest. And I appreciate the call in. So please call in next time, all right?
All right, thanks. All right, Kyle.
Take it easy. All right. Good stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I gotta get some Z's myself. My name is Kyle Henderson at BamaInsider.com. As I always say at the end of the show, thank you to our veterans and thank you to our men and women who serve the United States military. Very grateful for what you do for this great country. My contact info, Kyle at BamaInsider.com. Give BamaInsider.com free 30-day trial. Hit us up. Become a subscriber. Thank you for following our YouTube channel. On Twitter, as up top of the screen says, at Bama Insider. From Tuscaloosa, Alabama, this is the BamaInsider.com live stream. Kyle Henderson, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I will catch you guys soon. Thank you so much, guys. Peace.